Here are the headlines. In our first story, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Shirley Ayoko-Botchwey, has expressed the need for developed nations to partner Ghana's industrialization drive and the Ghana Beyond Aid agenda, adding that such moves will help build a self-reliant country. Taking her turn at a joint press briefing in Istanbul, Turkey, as part of a two-day official visit to that country, she called on Ghana and Turkey to work towards enhancing their trade volumes for mutual benefit.
We have a huge housing deficit, so any investment into Ghana that will address this deficit will be very much welcome. Also in the oil and gas industry, we need to have partnerships. We've identified some companies that necessarily we need to bring them on board in order for them to invest and also to help. Also in the textiles industry, that's another area that we believe that we can learn from best practices. The whole idea of these partnerships is to learn from each other. And if it took Turkey 40 years to reach a certain point of development, by association, it shouldn't take us that long, because we're learning from each other and borrowing best practices. And I think that these initiatives that we are looking at will catapult us to where we need to get to, which is a Ghana Beyond Aid. Our president is very serious on this policy, because we all believe that aid cannot develop any country. It is when you're self-reliant, when you're adding value to your raw materials. And so we've looked at the diversification of our materials, our raw materials, and all these things, where we are adding value, where we are attracting investment into our country, where we are finding new markets for our raw materials.
Now, the Upper West Regional Minister, Dr. Hafiz bin Sali, says the Planting for Food and Jobs initiative by government has tremendously impacted the lives of Ghanaians. Now, he wants the Ministry of Food and Agriculture to increase the sacks of fertilizer given to the farmers, especially those in the Upper West region. Dr. bin Sali made the statement when the 2019 third best national farmer called on him at his office in Wa.
Upper West Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz bin Sali has stated that the agriculture policy of the government, which gave birth to the implementation of the Planting for Food and Jobs, has impacted tremendously in the lives of the people, urging Ghanaians to embrace the flagship program.
Through farming, we can enhance the economy, not only of the Upper West region, but the entire nation. The Planting for Food and Jobs alone has made tremendous impact on the fortunes of farmers in the Upper West region. And it is my expectation that in 2020, the subsidized products that we received will be increased this year. Fertilizer, improved seedlings, and other agricultural inputs. It is my expectation that the Ministry of Food and Agriculture would consider the Upper West region highly, because we have embraced the Planting for Food and Jobs and other programs that the government has initiated and is implementing in the Upper West region.
He noted that more than half of the population of the Upper West region are into agriculture, and is therefore no surprise of the award won by the Chief Executive Officer of Antica Company Limited. Dr. Hafiz bin Sali urged him not to rest on his oars, but work above himself to win the ultimate in the next edition.
As a region where our farmers go strictly by the tenets of scientific farming, that has resulted in he winning this award. I believe strongly that this achievement will spur many farmers on to give off their best, so that they can also achieve what Atika Farms has been able to chalk.
Alhaji Abdullahi Antiku Seidu won the second runner-up position at the National Best Farmers Day held in the Volta region last December. Apart from the tractor and the 200,000 life insurance package he received from Glyco, he was also given a double cabin Nissan pickup. Alhaji Antiku Abdullahi was grateful to the Upper West Regional Minister, the Upper West Regional Directorate of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, and the people of the Upper West region for the tremendous support given him. He reporting for JoyNews, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
Let's go now to the OT region, where patients on admission at the KRACHI West Hospital do not have to bother about the extra cost of accommodation while on admission. The issue of people sleeping in corridors of the outpatient department and other open areas of the hospital is now a thing of the past after the hospital gave an acre of land to a philanthropist for the construction of a mother's lodge. Relatives of patients on admission at the hospital will now have a place to lodge and rest while seeing to other needs of the sick. Correspondent Peter Senu was at the handing over ceremony and has filed this report.
The 10-room, 8-bed capacity facility was constructed by a native philanthropist, Jacob Coley, to take care of relations of clients on admission at the hospital. Hither to this, mothers and caregivers to the sick on admission would have to battle with the harsh weather, mosquitoes and reptiles in some cases, coupled with the rent and transportation charges to and from the hospital on daily basis. The medical superintendent at the hospital, Dr. Edmond Tego, says it was difficult managing such situation.
It was very difficult because we have patients who travel from across the Volta Lake to access care here, and when they accompany their relatives, they have to stay for 2 weeks, 3 weeks straight. Unfortunately, many of them would sleep on the wards with patients who are sick. I mean, the relatives who are well sleep with sick patients on the ward, which we all know is very bad for their health. Others will have to manage in the corridors, in our outpatients department, and the mosquito infestation in the area is so high that it was very bad. So the situation was that when you treat the clients, usually before the relative goes, you would have to treat them for malaria. And we are so happy that this current donation to the hospital would change the situation.
Meanwhile, the paramount chief of KRACHI traditional area, Nana MPRAH, BESEMUNA III, has challenged the management of the hospital to put the facility to good use while maintaining it.
So we beg that you should put into motion immediately some mechanism to be able to, I wouldn't say charge people, I wouldn't say that, but find a way of getting some funds to keep the place as it is. You have to make sure that everything is kept intact so that when he comes back, anytime he decides to come in, he will also be very happy and maybe be encouraged to add something more.
Some potential users of the facility have expressed their excitement at the gesture.
Today I'm so happy to see this beautiful building. I am so happy and I thank God so much. For about 5 years of working in KRACHI West District Hospital, our clients' relatives have suffered so much mosquito bites. Sometimes it will be raining, they will be sleeping on floor outside. We thank God for a day like this. We are grateful.
When we see the man, what the man has done now, I can say, in fact, he did a match for the KRACHI citizens and the whole community. All those who are bringing their patients to maternity for deliveries, before they will discharge them, part of them have, malaria already because of they didn't have a correct place to sleep. So the man needs, to be praised.
Peter Senu for JoyNews.
Now, the Methodist Church of Ghana has cut sod for the construction of its first chapel in Dambai in the KRACHI East municipality of the Oti region. After 185 years of existence in Ghana, the presiding bishop of the Methodist Church, Most Reverend Dr. Paul Kwabena-Boafo, indicated the church would not only take the gospel of Christ and salvation to residents through this branch, but also harness both human and social development to the area.
Dambai doubles as the Oti Regional and KRACHI East Municipal Capital. Residents here have their livelihoods dependent on farming, fishing, trading, artistry, and formal sector works. Nonetheless, the town is bedeviled with the lack of access to quality health care and potable water. Residents mostly rely on water from the Oti River. The Nimfahini of the Chonke traditional area, Nana Kweku Beyeno II, lamented the unavailability of a medical doctor in the area when the top hierarchy of the Methodist Church Ghana paid a courtesy call on him ahead of a sword cutting ceremony. We need a doctor in our area. There's none at the health center at the moment. We want the church to help us. This is our greatest challenge. The Methodist Church acquired 18 plots of land in Dambai towards the establishment of a branch in the Oti region. 2 plots have been demarcated for the construction of a 300-capacity church auditorium with offices and other ancillary facilities. The presiding bishop of the Methodist Church, Most Reverend Dr. Paul Kwabena-Boafo, explained the church, aside winning souls for Christ, aims to build the capacity of residents coupled with the provision of social amenities.
Where we stand now is the site given for the construction of the first Methodist chapel in the Oti region. And we have just cut the sod for the construction. And so we say that all this is to the glory of God and what He has done for us. So we are making history in the sense that Methodism has entered Oti region. For the people called Methodists, wherever we go with development. And so it is not just bringing the spiritual life of the people up to date and in the gospel, but we are coming with developments like schools, health, social work, social activities, where we will also see to the provision of potable water. We are going to see to the development of the individual, especially the women and the vulnerable and the children. And this is where the church will work hand in hand with the government officials and government ministries, so that together we can achieve this development that should be for the people of this region.
The initiative to establish a branch of the Methodist Church in the Oti region is spearheaded by the Lay Movement Council, led by its president, Brother Bernard Clement Kosi-Bochwe. Reporting for JoyNews, Fred Kwame Asari, Dambai.
And with that report from Fred Kwame Asare, that ends the news headlines for this morning. But the newspaper review comes up. Mamabi is here. We're going to bring you all the papers splayed out before us with the juiciest headlines for your consumption. Stay with us.